Okay, well, welcome, welcome. So glad all of you have joined us here on this night. I appreciate you coming on a evening here. I know some of you are probably tired. You've either been at work all day or you've had your first day back at school. But thank you for jumping on here. I will keep you as long as I need, not any longer than I need to keep you. And this will also only be this will be the one time we meet live, unless as a class. So you don't have to worry. This will not be a regular meeting. It's a synchronous and it's an asynchronous class that you can do without us meeting. Now, saying that, you're always welcome to talk. We can always meet whenever you need to, one on one, and have time. So just saying that. But do some quick introductions and get everything going here. This is EDEL 250, Health and Human Movement. So I'm so excited that you're here. My name is Dr. Elner. I am one of the many professors here at K-State, but I run the PE and health program. I think I have some people here that are from the PE and health program, so that's always exciting. But that's that's my main duty is I coordinate that, teach the classes, supervise student teachers, everything. I was an elementary physical education teacher for 9 years. Along that time, I coached everything. I've coached volleyball, both boys and girls basketball, track, football. So a little bit of everything. If there's a sport, I've most likely coached it either in high school, middle school, or youth sports. So as an elementary teacher, I was up in Omaha, Nebraska for a while when my wife was finishing up dental school. When she graduated, we moved back here to Manhattan, Kansas, and I taught out on Ware Elementary. It's on Fort Riley. So I taught there for 7 years, had a great time out there. My wife and I, we adopted all our children. And when we were getting ready to adopt our third child, we realized, I was not making enough money to make it worth me to have three kids in daycare as a teacher. So I became a stay-at-home dad in 2008, and I did that for about 6 years or so. When my youngest, the one we adopted then, when he went to school, I started back on my master's and wasn't really thinking PE at all. And I got my master's in educational technology. And while I was doing my master's, I went back to school in my late 30s and almost 40, and enjoyed it a lot. Stunningly, I never thought I'd be somebody who enjoyed the learning process. And so I did that and I had a great time. And so I actually kept going and got my doctorate at K-State in 2019. And been, up until that point, I'd been a GTA teaching the courses. And really the only thing that changed is they paid me and I still teach the same courses. So plus I've teach a bunch of other courses. This health and movement class is actually one of my favorite courses to teach. I love teaching it in person, but I also think it's a good class online. This is not going to be elementary PE or PE for the elementary teacher. I don't try to teach it in that way at all. We'll let the PE teachers teach elementary PE and you all teach elementary subjects, except for the PE people in here. Now, I also think, though, saying that is this could be one of the most important classes you take here. A lot of you are taking it early on in your programs. And so what we're going to talk about here is a lot of things that you don't think about but you don't think about in teaching, but that make all the difference. And I'll get around to why I say that. It's also a little bit of Dr. Elner's 2 cents of teaching, right? I've been teaching I've taught a long time. I have three children who have all gone through elementary school. I have a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 15-year-old who's almost 16. So I know that you're looking at me going, no way, no way. But yes, I have that. Sorry. And I will tell, I have a lot of good dad jokes. So just jump in there if you want to laugh. But anyways, I think I have a pretty good sense of what works, what doesn't, but that doesn't mean I'm only one that's right in how I do it. But I think my way is pretty good. And the way I teach is with a couple of different things is individual first, relationships, and enthusiasm. So I want to tailor my education to individual. Now that's a little difficult when it comes to an online class of 60 students. If you're in my ed tech class, I have 167 students in that class. So it gets a little difficult, but I still try to give you options and let you do things that kind of, at least give you some chances to do things individually. But when we teach, in what I will do with individually is take each one of you as an individual. I don't consider you all one group of students, and we're going to teach you all the same way and have the same expectations for everybody. in the sense that we're all different and we all can do different things. I don't compare you to each other. And so with one of the biggest things with our students, I think, to get kids to learn properly is we got to position them in the best possible way to learn. So if they're not positioned in the best way to learn, they're not going to learn the best. For example, one of the first things we'll talk about is hunger. Kids that are hungry. Now, there's hungry and there's hangry, and then there's like, no, there's no food. So hangry. Some of you get hangry. My youngest son is like, when he gets hangry, it's over. He's grumpy. It's horrible until we get him food. But that's hangry. You can deal with it. He ain't going to starve. But the other side of that is, no, you're really hungry. You are not eating and you do not have food security. Maybe school lunch is the only food you're getting. Now think of yourself, if you're in a position that food is not readily available to you, are you really worried about math? Are you really worried about science that day? So those kids are not in position. So if a kid's acting a certain way, rather than me saying, well, this kid obviously is a bad kid, you don't know what's going there, so you got to find out about them. We're going to talk about a lot about physical activity and movement. Students that cannot sit still. And we're just like, why can't you sit still? Why can't you sit still? I don't know. I'm 49 years old and I cannot sit still. I still haven't figured that out. But if you're forcing somebody who cannot sit still to sit for 8 hours a day, they're not going to learn. We're going to talk about nutrition. And if you're eating poorly, if you're eating sugary foods in the morning and drinking sodas and you're having sugar high, you get done, you go in there and have a school breakfast and you eat the nice little donut they give you. And then why is Mark over there falling asleep at 9:30 when he's just having a sugar crash? Not going to learn the best. We're going to talk about child abuse. If you're being abused, you are not going to learn the best. And finally, we'll talk a lot about mental health. Mental health is probably the biggest issue you will deal with. You will deal with mental health. I assume in this class I will deal with mental health issues. I personally, myself, deal with mental health issues as well as many people in my family. And so I know it's out there. My thing I was kind of telling the class today, if you don't have mental health issues, that means you have mental health issues, because all of us have. Nobody's, sitting there going, oh, life's grand and I never have any worries. Okay. So we have to work through those things with kids. We have to put them in a position. We have to understand how to get them in those positions, or also understand what are the results, what happens when they're not in that position. And me as a teacher, I have to learn about each one of those kids so that they understand, I appreciate their situation, and I'm not going to look down on them. So another example, at some point in this class, it's an online class, it's going to happen. It's going to happen in my face-to-face classes. Some of you are going to be dealing with some stuff. And it could be a mental health issue. It could be we've had stuff with people like they're moving or they're going through a breakup or they're going through something, right? Everybody here has different situations. They deal with mental health issues, all of that. Now I can sit there and say, look, the assignment's due on this day. We do this, 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 and this, and that's the way life is, and you move on. But that wouldn't really be me modeling what I'm talking about. So I will be, if you're somebody who's like all of a sudden you're not turning stuff in, you're not doing things, and we'll reach out to you because I'm going to want to know why. And eventually we'll talk about it. And I'll get into that a little later when we get into the syllabus. But, really trying to find out, like, what's the reason? I can't imagine most of you are thinking right now, well, I'm going to just mess up in this class and I'm going to just start ditching assignments and I'll try to get my C and get out of here. There's probably a thing behind it. So how can we do that? And again, the biggest way to do that is you need to develop relationships with your kids. You need to care about them. You need to ask questions about them, wondering and all that kind of stuff. And so I'll spend a lot of time throughout my stuff when I talk to you, when I put stuff up there, having those conversations. Another couple of things I just want to kind of talk about myself and my beliefs and everything, so you know where I'm coming from when I'm doing this, is the idea that a lot of you, this might be one of the first classes that you're taking in our program, is that in the education, you might not even be in the College of Education yet. You haven't started your blocks. Maybe you're a little further. I'm a big believer in, to be a teacher, you got to want it. And you are now taking teaching courses. This is not Geology 101 or history of rock and roll. Okay, those are all probably great courses, but I assume not too many of you were sitting in your music appreciation class going, well, this is going to make a difference in the rest of my life. You're like, okay, I'm learning something, and move on, and we'll collect your check. And K-State will collect your check for taking the class, and we'll all be happy. This is what you want to do. So I expect if you want to, this is what you want to do, you're going to take this class seriously. Education is not for the passive. It's not for to go in halfway. If you want to be a teacher, you're either all in or just don't be in. And that's okay if you're not. Not everybody does that, right? Not everybody is all in on teaching. Not everybody can be a teacher. I'm going to tell you, you know that because you probably had some of those people that had no business being a teacher. You know, you're spending. Oh, hold on one second. All right. Can you guys still hear me? Okay. I have a feeling my AirPod was disconnected. Anyways, but you have to want it. Not everybody can do it. And you're going to spend a lot of money. And honestly, it's not worth it if you don't really care about it. It's not worth the money because, you're probably not going to make that in your first year or so. So, really, this is something that you got to want. And I have that expectation of you. I expect all of you want to be here and you want to do your best. Now, your best looks different for everybody, but that you want to be here. So if you have any questions at all, I want you to reach out. I want you to ask me. Even during this meeting here, the chat is open. If you have something, just throw it in there. If I can answer it right there, I will. I want you to know, I've told you already, I deal with a lot of stuff. Okay. I deal with mental illness. I deal with things so I promise you, if you come to me with something, if you're struggling and you're like, I don't want to talk to him about it, he's going to be mean to me or mad at me, I promise you I won't. I'm not going to judge you. No matter what you're going to tell me, I promise you I've seen it. And whether I've seen it in little kids, whether I see it in myself, my family, or I've seen it in other students here at the college. So please, please reach out to me. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, if nobody has any questions, is I'm going to kind of run through the class just to kind of give you a feel on how this class is going to work. I'm going to share my screen and everything. But again, you can still text in there and tell me into the chat if you need anything. So I'm going to share my screen. And if for some reason, right now you should be looking at the modules. Did you see that? Okay. So I'm going to take you back here to home. So this is our homepage. Each week, I will update this homepage. Typically, my goal is to have this updated by Friday. Okay. So by Friday, at some point during the day, I will have this in the first week's module updated. This is kind of like a little blog, just kind of how the class is going. Maybe I have some stuff to say. Along with that, I will typically put in a video of me, a 5 to 10 minute video. It will never be longer than 15 minutes and most likely not longer than 10 minutes. You are required to watch those videos and you are responsible for everything in those videos. So if I say something in that video and then you email me with a question that was clearly in that video, I'm going to say, watch the video. Now, if you have watched the video and you still don't understand or you still have a question, 100% reach out to me. So that's a front page. You want to take a look at that. Now, the big chunk of the class, 90% of the class is here in the modules. Dump this right here. We have our online syllabus, which I want to go through first. Syllabi, they're so much fun. So there's not very much I want you to worry about in here, except for right here. Everything else is pretty standard. Are you guys able to see that clearly? If not, I'm going to read it to you. But this is our class procedures on late work. So I've been fighting this forever on how we do late work. I've tried different things and I take 2 points off here. I do this. I have a rubric, whatever. This year I decided on a couple of cents, I feel like I'm doing a lot of enabling by letting people turn things in weeks and weeks late and only taking a couple points off because it's just, you're not going to want to do that as a teacher. You're not going to want your students to turn in stuff late. So here's what's going to happen. And this is kind of what was happening before, but now I've taken it out of my hands. This is going to be done automatically. If you turn something in late, it will automatically, so assignments are due at 11:59. So starting at 12 o'clock, it will take 2 points off 10 points off, 10%, sorry, 10%. Most of our assignments are worth 20 points. That's 10% up until it takes off 40% of your points. That's where it's going to stop. It won't take any more than 40%. that means you, at the max, you can still get like a level of D, right? So you would still want to turn it in. Even if you're a week late, you would still want to turn it in to at least get those 60%. You would still be able to get full points on it, except for the grade, the points that have been taken off for the grade. Yeah. So then if it's more than a week late, let's say you have something due tomorrow and you do not submit it until next Wednesday, I need to hear from you. I need you to email me like, hey, just so you know, I've turned this in. This is what happened. I'm not going to grade it until I hear that. If it is more than 2 weeks late, you do a disappearing act. This happens every semester. You get stressed. You haven't reached out to me, and now we're into 2 weeks. You and I are not, I'm not grading it until you and I have had either a Zoom meeting, or if you're on campus, a face-to-face meeting. Now, this is not set up for me to bring you in or talk to you and yell at you and tell you how bad of a student that you are. What this is meant to do is me to find out, like I just said, why, to ask questions, to see if there's things I can do to help you, right? Now, I will say this, and my daughter's going to college. She's actually going to KU. She leaves Thursday. And one of the biggest things I've told my daughter when she goes to college is talk to your teachers. And I'll say it in this way. I tell her this all the time. It's really hard to give a kid you like, a student that you like, bad grades, right? It's really hard to do that. And we can make your life easier. The amount of conversations I've had in week 7 to a student who is basically really upset and really scared about what's going to happen because they haven't turned anything in. And after we have the conversation, everything kind of goes away and everybody's doing okay. And I'm like, don't you wish you would have done that right away? And they're like, oh my gosh, yes. Okay. I promise I will help you. Obviously consistent late work will be an issue. If like you're just every day, every semester, every class or every assignment, you're 2 days late, that we'll have a conversation. As with all things, we are in a teacher prep program. You're going to be a teacher. So if you turn something in late, I hope that down the road, you're going to, when your students turn stuff in late, you're not going to care. Does that make sense? So I'm going to stop my share right now just to get this out here. Like, for example, if I'm a coach, and some of you may have played sports or some of you may coach or something, but if I'm a coach, and maybe, and are any of you, or has anybody ever had a coach that's okay with you showing up 5 minutes late or just not coming to practice? Has anybody ever had a coach that's just like, you know, oh yeah, I need you to sign your physical. You didn't sign it. Don't worry about it. Just get in when you can. No. And you're not going to be like that as a teacher, right? I would assume you're not going to be like, you know what, guys, turn it in when you turn it in. Oh, you know that. So why would you think that you should do that in this program? Be a teacher. Start being that today. It is really hard. I don't know how you can really be somebody that holds your other people accountable if you wouldn't hold yourself accountable. So let's just not get into that, okay? That is my number one most frustrating thing in me. Now, here's something also. If you turn something in and you just missed the boat on it, maybe you had a bad day, maybe things didn't go well, maybe you misunderstood the assignment and you lose points for it. I will tell you exactly what you've lost points for, and you will be able to redo it. And you have a week to do that. So there is zero reason anybody should not get an A in this class. I would be happy to give everybody an A. Speaking of that, I'm stopping the share again just so I can see everybody and you can see me. I am happy to give you an A. Why would you want to take an A? Do your best, turn the stuff in. I'm going to make this so for you to get that. If you don't do it, then you're not taking advantage of that situation. Okay. So make sure that you are doing everything you can to just get your stuff in, talk to me, and I promise you, we'll walk out of here happy. I like to think this class is something like this. There are no tests in this class. Well, I guess there's a couple little reading responses, but there are no tests where it's like, take the test, whatever the score is, that's the score. Nothing like that. So how many of you read? Does anybody here read? Raise a hand. Clap. Okay. So some of us read. When you read, do you more enjoy reading a book at home, sitting back, reading just for the enjoyment? Or do you like it better when you have to write a book report on it or you have a test on it the next day? That's no fun, right? You're just doing it to get through it. Me personally,
I love reading. And one of my favorite parts about reading is just reading without the worry of having to remember every single thing. I want that to be this class. I want this to be the class that you just do it to enjoy it. You'll learn something. You get some things to think about. You're not stressed out over it, right? You're not, this isn't something you're like, I got to remember everything he says because it's going to be on test at the end. Let's just enjoy. Let's enjoy the process. Get something out of it. Okay. Thank you. All right. Yes, read for fun. I don't like to worry when I read either. I love reading. Okay, so that's pretty much that. You guys can see this, right? Okay. My contact information, expectations. Here's the best way is to email me. I do have my cell number in there. But the best way is to email me. And but tell me who you are. I have 8 Canvas courses plus about 6 other like student teacher and master's courses that I am on. So if you just say, hi, I don't understand this, or hi, my assignment's gonna be late, or hi, whatever, and you don't tell me who you are, I'm not gonna get it. So make sure you tell me, you know, who you would be right here. So like, for example, you might just, your name, this is an example, intro PE fall 21. I will tell you the first time it happened last year, I literally had somebody in the subject had your name, intro PE fall 2021. So don't do that. Put like Mark Elner, health and movement online fall or something. Okay. Some of the stuff won't apply to you, obviously, since we're not going to do a group me. You're not going to be on time, but kind of think about this as kind of your role. Here for me, I'm here to make this class self-centered, student-centered, okay? I'm not self-centered, student-centered for you. I'm trying to have like a fun, easygoing learning environment, bring in stuff that's new, relevant to you, adapt stuff when we need to, challenge you, complete all grading within 2 weeks. I'm hoping I'm more than 2 weeks. I have 2 GTAs this fall, so I'm hoping I'm a lot less than 2 weeks. And return any calls or emails within 24 hours. It is rare that I have not responded to you within 24 hours. If you get to 24 hours, email me again. Okay. That'd be something I missed. Each week, so also I'm going to say here, when we grade on rubrics. We'll show you an example here. I'm not into patronizing you with a lot of good jobs and nice jobs. So I will grade you. If you have full points, you can assume read through the rubric, and that's what I think about your stuff. Yeah. If you have any questions about that, let me know. Each week, what you'll want to do after you look at the homepage, you're going to go here. So you guys cannot see all these other weeks, obviously, because I don't have them published yet. But you're going to come here and you're going to go to the start here. This is going to tell you everything for the week. This is very detailed. The rest of them will not be, but it tells you when to do things. It kind of gives you an overview. Then you're going to come in here and you're going to take a look at the assignments. So we have assignments here. So it's real simple. Some of you have already done it. It's just an introduction and a picture. And I think I asked you, sorry, to respond to some people. Okay. Maybe just give yourself a response. If you don't, that's okay. But, if you see somebody you like, say hi, how are you doing? Attendance quiz. I'm going to give you this word right here. So you're all going to want to go to this pretty quickly. It's not due till Thursday, but don't forget, the attendance quiz word for the night is movement. So you're going to go into that attendance quiz and you're going to answer the question, movement. Now, don't go sharing this with all your friends, because that'd be kind of lame, and they're going to miss out on stuff. Okay. They'll get to watch this video. So that's the quiz. I throw it in there, movement. Please don't email me in an hour saying, oh, or 2 hours or tomorrow, I forgot to do it. Just, you can jump on there now and do it, write the word down. So that's not really anything big homework. So you have an introduction and then you have a podcast review. Now, I think this is kind of a fun assignment because I think it's cool that there's so much stuff out there on podcasts. What you're going to do is go down there and select an episode from at least 2 different podcasts. These are examples. Now, you can go to any podcast you can find on fitness, nutrition, or health. And so this kind of gives you all the information. You're going to select an episode so you're going to pick two, then you're going to select one, and then you're going to take notes and you're going to listen to them and do a little presentation. You will create a s'more. Some of you may not have ever created a s'more. They're kind of fun little things. And if you're an elementary teacher, you're going to make them. Oh, where's my information here? Not a robot. Okay, I'm not getting into all that. That was getting a little bit off topic. So you will create a s'more free account and basically answering these. We will have groups on this, so you'll respond to groups. If we have things where you're responding to groups, you will only respond to the people in your group. Okay. And we'll get all of that worked out. But just read through it. They're pretty detailed. If you have any questions on those, you just let me know. We don't have any resources. Now, that is basically what it looks like. Now, down here, you can see week 2, we're going to start talking about Hungry Kids. We'll get some of this stuff up here. Some of it's not ready because we haven't got to that week, but there'll be the Start Here page. You can see the assignments. That assignment won't be on there. And then you can see all of the resources I have. All right. And you can see that pattern going all the way down here. Start Here, assignments, resources. Okay. Now I'm going to stop my share. So anyways, you just want to go through that and get those done. Your assignments are typically due on Thursdays. First week, most weeks you're going to have one-ish assignments. And then you'll maybe have group responses. Sometimes you'll have 2. Just kind of keep an eye on that. One thing I will tell you, if it is not in the module, you're not going to do it. So if you see an assignment pop up, because I got to be honest, like we copy these Canvas classes over, and it always happens like somebody like says, oh, well, there was an assignment that was due like in 2022. So should I do that? No. If it says 2022 on it or a different year, common sense it. And so just whatever is in that module, that's all you got to do. Okay. Grading, I went over. Late work. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Yes, Jessica.
On the assignments for the podcast, it said make a presentation. Does that mean like a video presentation?
No, so let me go. It's a s'more. I'm gonna go back. I'll go back and show you. So in that assignment, there's a thing called s'more. This right here. And again, like I said, it was kind of giving me a hard time logging in. But if you give me 2 seconds, I can probably log in with it and I can show you. Nah, sorry. I have to do this while it's on video. That's hysterical. Clearly my thing has been hacked. And oh my goodness, it's getting a little crazy. I want to make sure you guys understand this. It's not even worth it. So sorry, it's not even going to my thing. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But what I will tell you is a very simple way to make a presentation. You can't, and if for some reason, and so that basically you'll make a link and then I'll look at it. If for some reason you're struggling on how to make a s'more, then don't worry about it. Just put into the text, okay? Don't make it any more difficult, but I promise you, you will be able to, like it kind of says, you're going to build a newsletter. These are kind of like s'mores. If you see some examples, and you can use it for whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah. They're pretty self-explanatory. So it can be on your computer. It's not just for your phone. Oh yeah, the quiz word is movement. Movement. Throw that in there. And then what we'll do is throw that in anytime. I'll grade those in the next week or so, just to make sure. What I just want to make sure is everybody watches it. And I haven't figured out that way to do that yet. So I will share this video probably by maybe Tuesday, tomorrow or Wednesday. I'll share this video so everybody could watch it. So any questions on anything I went over as part of the class? Yes, Mrs. Thomas.
I had a quick question. I don't know if it's just me or I just can't find it, but is there like a printable class schedule? Because I'm having a hard time find it. Like when I go under week 1, start here, and it says click the course information. Here you'll find the syllabus. It says I don't have access to it and I can't find it anywhere else. So I just didn't know if that was just me or if there is a printable schedule I could print out like a class. I'm like old fashioned. I like to print my things out and like check them off with like a marker.
Yeah. So, let me quit. Has anybody else had trouble getting into like what the syllabus page or anything? Has anybody looked at it? Somebody can answer. Has anybody looked at it? Yes.
I haven't, I've looked at it, but I wasn't able to find a printable version.
Of
I
the
kind of copied
syllabus?
and pasted. Yeah, I copied and
Yeah.
pasted it.
Yeah, so
and put it in
that's
the-
what you would have to do with that. So I'm moving to those things where they're not in my schedule. I actually took that off because it was kind of confusing people. So you put an old school schedule back up there. So why don't you give me this this week? This week will be all you got to do is those introduction and the podcast review. But I'll throw the schedule up there, especially for the online class. I'll get that this week. Okay.
All right, thank you.
I do not know why the syllabus would not be doing that.
I can see the syllabus. It just said like syllabus, comma schedule, like they were two separate things, and I couldn't.
So the schedule,
schedule
yeah,
anywhere.
sorry. That you know what? It's because I took it off as why it's notched, and that's probably should have taken that link off also. Sorry.
No.
In the link, yeah, it's okay with the groups. Yes, they will be automated, and if for some reason something happens and the groups don't get created because Canvas gets finicky sometimes, and we'll just not have you do that. But the reason we do those, we won't do a discussion every time, but the reason is obvious. Like we're going to do a lot of discussion in our class talking about things, and I'd like to just see I'd like you to just see other people's opinions rather than just only getting your thoughts, just to see what other people think. So like with that podcast, you might find a podcast that you find interesting that somebody else has. Okay. Looking. All right. If you have any more questions, stick it in the chat. I'm going to talk for a few more minutes. I'll let you get out of here. What kind of puppy is that, Miss Gonzalez?
Dog is this dog?
He is a pit bull mix.
Pit bull mix.
Okay, well, it looks
He's
very
my
cute.
fur nephew.
Okay, I love dogs. I have 3 dogs there. So anyways, always when I see dogs, I love when they're on here. But anyways, I try to take and enjoy this class, get some things you think of it. The stuff I'm going to teach here, I promise you, will make a difference in your students' lives. It'll make a difference in your lives. It will take care of, it will not take care of, I shouldn't say take care of it. It will help you with managing behaviors, with you getting frustrated and understanding why kids are acting like this. I will tell you this, movement. So my dissertation is on physical activity in the classroom. I was a PE teacher, but I did my doctoral dissertation on physical activity in the classroom to see how it improves engagement and all that. And we have a whole week or so about it, 2 weeks on talking about physical activity in the classroom. And I actually have an article I wrote from my dissertation that you'll be looking at. And the idea is that, I will tell you this, I've spent multiple years researching this because I was getting ready, but the time doing my dissertation, about 1.5 years, okay, looking at every article possible, spending months and months in classrooms. There is nothing that will ever tell you that physical activity negatively impacts education or learning. At the worst, it'll say it has no impact. Now, I know for myself, physical activity has a positive impact on my learning. Again, if you were in this class face-to-face, we did a lot of movement today. We're all my classes, we get up, we move, we do things. Even at the college level, it's not just elementary. Physical activity does not have to be get up, stand up, doing jumping jacks. It can just be getting up, getting your pencil, getting up, getting a drink of water, getting up to go to a different table to a group. Alicia, do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to mention something about how you were talking about behaviors. I don't know if anyone's read this book, but it's called From Behaving to Belonging. And it actually discusses what you're saying about kind of reframing your mind from quote unquote bad behaviors to what is this kid missing that I can give to them?
100%. Let me give you just a perfect example in my life of how this has happened. So my son Miles went to 7th grade. Always been a really good kid. Things, you know, but he's rambunctious, you know, he's spontaneous and impulsive, but nothing ever to get him in trouble. Never. Well, when he went to 7th grade, my dad, and I'm not trying to get, so my dad was dying. And I was spending a lot of time with my parents and trying to work on things. Okay. My dad was going out and he was in the hospital, he's going to rehab, blah, blah. And all of a sudden my son started getting in a lot of trouble, like big trouble at school. I'm like, what is it? And I will tell you this, when we finally realized what was going on, it was like a relief. So this is my son, who is my youngest, who I've spent most of my life with, right? He spent his entire life. I was not there for him. I was taken away from the family. And what was he missing? He was missing that, us being there. We were all our attention. Something simple. Everybody at that middle school thought he was a bad kid. And so, you know, that's a very good, you know, what you said. And that's what we need to think about. There are a million things out there, and I hope we get to that in this class. You know, there's so many things out there, and I will tell stories when I send out my videos, but there's so many things out there, reasons why kids act the way they do. And there's usually something behind it. If a kid is tired, it's not because they're a bad kid, it's because they stayed up too late. It's because maybe they don't have a great place to sleep. Maybe their house is very loud. Maybe things are going on at home that do not allow them to get a good night's sleep. Maybe it is they got up, they didn't eat, or maybe they got up and they ate 2 donuts, drank a Dr. Pepper, and came to school, and now they're crashing. Lots of different things like that. You know, we'll talk about bullying and all of those different little things. So really thinking about asking the questions, not just assuming, just like me, all of you in here, somebody doesn't turn their assignment in, I'm not just going to automatically go to they're lazy. I'm going to try to find out why that is happening and if there's something we can do about it. And that really is your number one job as a teacher. When I was coaching youth sports, one of our main goals was, as a coach, was to have the kids come out the next year because they had fun. I think we kind of took that attitude as a teacher. I want you to come back. I want you to enjoy school, not hate school. Well, we can do that. You know, we do it through love and relationships and learning and asking questions, and, you know, rather than just assuming. So, and you guys have that, like, as those little kids, because they can't even express it very much. You know, they don't quite know. Well, if there's no questions, I appreciate you saying that, Alicia. If there's no questions, you know, we're going to sign out here in a second. I will stay on for a few minutes. I do have another class starting at 7, so I'll stay on for a few minutes if you just didn't want to ask in front of everybody. I appreciate you so much and being here. Last thing I'm going to say, I am giving you and asking you to, if something is not working in this class, to reach out to me and tell me. If you don't like something, you reach out and we talk about it. I won't get mad. Well, I may tell you you're wrong, but I won't get mad, but we will have a conversation. I have had people tell me, like, this article I don't agree with, so let's talk about it. Or this isn't working for me. So in saying that, I am giving you permission to do that. You can't come back and say, well, that class didn't work for me, because I'm going to tell you that's your fault. It is your fault if you don't get a good grade in here, because I'm telling you right now, I will do everything in my power to give you that good grade. You have an A from me. You're the only one that can take it away. And again, the only way people don't do good in here is if you just don't turn your work in and you don't talk to me. Okay. I'm in Bluemont Hall 207. I am willing to meet with you face to face. A lot of you, probably maybe many of you, are not here, so I can meet with you online. I'm very flexible. I don't mind meeting at night times. I don't mind meeting in the morning. I have times during the day. Whatever it is, I will make it work. But as an online class, I'm more here as a facilitator. I'm not going to be teaching to you every day. I'm giving you assignments and projects that I think will help you learn and get something. They're not things that they're not busy work. There's stuff to do it, but you have to be communicative with me. And again, it's on me to have you be successful. Okay. And I want you to be. And so just so you know, like when, with that late work, like you will get a message from me. So let's say the assignments due Thursday night, Friday morning when I wake up, I will send people messages. If it'll automatically kind of get sent, so I can get on there and I just kind of send a message to whoever hasn't submitted it. It'll say, hey, just a reminder, your assignment was due last night. Please submit it. And then you'll just kind of a little kick in the pants in case you forgot. Okay. So then, you know, you lose 10%, but it's still only 2 points. You know, you're going to be fine. And nothing is ever absolute. So always talk to me. All right. You all have a fabulous night. Thank you so much for being on here. I'm going to stop our meeting here, or stop recording here.